Okay, hi everybody. Thumbs up from Adam. We're on the screen here. Hi everyone, hope you're all well. Let me just slip into presenter view here. Okay, Adam, just give me the thumbs up. Slides still good to go. All right. Everyone, thanks for your time. First of a series of webinars that are going to be coming around a number of themes over the next few weeks. This one all around the importance of being and staying connected in the workplace when we're working remotely in this most bizarre of circumstances in which we find ourselves. So a bit of a practical guide. We've got open Q&A that Adam's going to curate during the session. Feel free to put questions, comments. What I love about these sort of things when people are answering each other's questions as been made reference to in huddles and things like that. So please put comments in, anything that you like, that's fine. I'm going to be talking for half an hour. I've got quite a solid lot of content here, so let's get cracking. Whenever people are presenting to me, I always like to understand and know a little bit about the people that are presenting to me. So just a little bit about me for those of you that don't know me. So I'm Stuart Richards, Head of Engineering for Infrastructure, Platforms and Workplace. This here is me about 2 minutes after my first ever DIY haircut that my wife did with a very cheap and very old beard trimmer.
Sorry, Stuart. Sorry, just to jump in. We've got your notes view. So now if you want to go back to just the slide in view.
Okay, I'll tell you what, let's end the show. Start again. We'll go without the notes. How's that?
Perfect.
All right. So I'm going without the notes here, guys, but I'm sure we'll be okay. So yeah, this is me 2 minutes after a DIY haircut for my good lady wife on Saturday with a cheap old beard trimmer. There she is. That's Jo. It's my wife. Been married 10 years this July. Left of that picture is my daughter Jasmine. She was 14 last Saturday. Possibly the most miserable birthday ever for her. Here's the other three lights in our lives. Our three dogs, and I apologise in advance if any of them start barking. They are all in the room that I am in right now. Amazon delivery is due. You're all having this every day, right? Whilst trying to stay connected. Here's where I live. I was just chatting to Adam about this offline. So the little red arrow is a little dot representing where I am right now in the rural sticks just outside Cheltenham in Gloucestershire. Two passions of my life, music and football. This is Loudon Wainwright, the third folk hero of mine, and I'm a die-hard Everton fan, so if they wind up cancelling the season we're partway through at the moment, fine by me. And then career, since I left uni a long time ago than I care to admit. I've worked for 3 organisations, so Logica, I worked there for a few years as an SAP consultant. I joined Halfords in 2004. I was there for 13 years before joining Sainsbury's in 2017. So by way of introduction to the session, I kind of wanted to encapsulate on a single slide how lockdown and everyone being social distancing, having to stay at home, how it's kind of been feeling. And I'm going to do that through the notion of food, because we're all obsessed with food, right, in the new modern world. And this is kind of how life was like before quarantine. So all quite ordered, all quite staged, time for breakfast, lunch, dinner. And then this is very quickly what it's become over the last few weeks. Time suddenly without form or substance, and indeed so are we. I can see the fridge over there grumbling at me right now. So how do we get some sense of order and connection back into our lives? And that's the goal of this presentation. How do we work well, and feel connected when we're in the workplace, when we're not physically in the workplace but working from home? So there's 5 themes we're going to touch in this session. Exercise in relationships with people at work, making meetings great again, doing all we can to fall in love again with our ways of working, bringing joy back to the workplace, and finally winning behaviours, how we show up in the workplace. And when I say the workplace, I mean coming down the stairs and doing what I'm doing at the moment, stood in the dining room. So first one of these, exercise in relationships. Like I say, there's 5 themes. There's a series of bullets I'm going to go through on each of these. So first one of these, arguably the most important thing I'm going to talk about, and lots of you are doing this anyway, but regular team connection, staying connected with your teams on a very regular, and I suspect a very different basis, has been and is the way to go here. So me and my leadership team, we had a steady cadence and rhythm with how we connected when we were physically in the office, although lots of that we often used to do remotely. It was once or twice a week. The start of lockdown, we moved into a 15-minute check-in every day, 8:45, just 15 minutes, which was less to talk about work, though you're welcome to bring that in. This is more of a check-in with how we are as people, how we're feeling on these days, because no one's experienced this before. So everybody's been going through peaks and troughs, and everybody still is, frankly. So regular team connection, formally and informally. Every week, certainly with our family, we have an hour-long family check-in at 11 o'clock every Wednesday. We've had one today, which is more of a download of business updates, and we're bringing along guest speakers to talk about what's going on inside and outside the family to try and retain that connection, even though everybody's at home. There's also the informal side of this. So I love what's going on in Karen Brown's team. They have the 11s, where people grab a cup of tea and a bit of cake and pop along and have a chat over video. We do a Friday social as well, where we're running quizzes and whatnot every week. So just more regular time, and keep reviewing that, keep retroing that. How's that working for people? Certainly my leadership team are feeling, we've gone back down to 3 days a week for the quarter of an hour check-in. We're feeling every day was actually getting a bit over the top in the end, which is actually a good place to be. Deeper one-to-one time, quite easy when we're remote at home to not care about our one-to-one so much. It's actually a great opportunity to over-index on that one-to-one time, either with your line manager or if you're in a coaching, mentoring relationship, either side of that fence. It's never been easier to find a quiet space, a quiet bit of time to deepen that one-to-one relationship. No withering on the vine. What relationships do you have in the workplace because of the physical proximity that you have with people that have withered on the vine over the last few weeks, people that you've not seen or had any contact with that you used to? Have a think about that and pick up the bat phone, get some time in with somebody to have a coffee and a chat, and not let that relationship wither on the vine. Commuting time. The average commute in the UK is just under an hour. I think it's 58 minutes. My average is about an hour and 3/4 actually. What are we doing with that time? I'm not going to lie and pretend I'm getting up at the same time every day. I'm not. I'm getting up a little bit later than I used to, because actually that's really healthy for me. But I certainly have got a bit more time in the morning, trying to split it between a bit of exercise, going for a walk with the dogs out in the field. And of course, we've got more time now to plan our days a little more sensibly, get some post-it notes up around your workspace, being really clear on what are the goals you're trying to achieve on any given day, i.e. staying connected, getting mentally prepared and connected for the day. Be demanding of your leaders. If you've not got that regular connection time or FaceTime with your leaders, demand it, request it and ask for it if there's not enough being done to prevent you from feeling isolated during these times. Likewise, if you are a leader, be proactive in providing that time. I personally don't run open door sessions. I use other means, but I know lots of people run open door sessions where it's just slots in the diary. Anybody can pop along. Makes leaders feel more makes leaders actually more approachable, and of course helps people stay and remain connected. The final two: silent group video chat and Pomodoro with a friend. Stuart, what are you talking about? Silent group video chat. I love this one. This is it's trying to recreate that feeling of the office of people getting on with their own work, but actually having people around them. So opening up a video chat that's not a meeting, it's just people working with the video open so that you can lift your head up, have a quick chat, the sort of things you would normally do in the office. So it's cracking on with your own work, but having other people around you in a virtual sense. Pomodoro is a technique I learned quite recently, which is around enabling you to focus on a single task. How bloody hard is it at the moment to focus on work all of the time when we're sat in one space all day? It's really, really quite challenging. Pomodoro technique is all around 4 lots of 25 minutes, focusing on a single task, punctuated by 5-minute breaks. So 25 minutes, single task, focus on it, 5-minute break. Then 25 minutes, 5-minute break. Do that 4 times and then have a proper half an hour, 45-minute break. And why not Pomodoro with a friend? So if there's something you're working on together, collaborate together, connect together, and focus on getting a task done. Making meetings great again. Meetings, meetings, meetings. And guarantee loads of you that are watching me right now are in back-to-back days where the meetings never seem to end. So have the discipline, sort your life out with your meetings, sort your diary out, invite and attendance discipline. So this is about when you're setting up meetings, it's easy to get lazy at the moment when we're all remote. I'll invite the world to this session because all these people may be able to contribute, they may get value out of it. Invite only those that really need to be there, that are going to add value or get value from the session. And similarly, go through your diary and consider your attendance at meetings and whether the value is going to be there. It's very easy to get somebody to take notes and share with them afterwards and grab some of that time back. Clear agenda and intended outcome. Of course, this is good discipline with any meeting, but at the moment, because we're all isolated, we're all at home, really important to have in the body of your meeting invite what it is about, what's the agenda, what's the intended outcome, because people are going to be a little more disconnected than they usually are. So make it really clear and give people the freedom of choice to work out whether that meeting is going to be of value for them or not. I've thrown this one in, avoid diving right in. Just an observation of the last few weeks. People, I think, are appreciating relaxing their way into a meeting a little more, providing a bit of airspace at the beginning for informal connection, bit of a touching base on how people are feeling, what they watched on telly last night, how's the day going. I think it's important to be throwing that sort of connection time in at the start of a meeting before diving right into the content. Clear actions and moving things on. Again, that sense of disconnection we've all got at the moment. Let's be really clear during a meeting and after it. What are the actions? Who's logging them? Getting them shared really openly so we remain connected to the task at hand. Similarly, body language, far harder to read when we're not physically in the room together. So give each other permission, verbally contract on how we're going to be moving the conversation on if it's going off in the wrong direction. Nick Poulton introduced me to this card a few weeks ago that we've been using in some of our sessions, the enough let's move on card. We've got permission to say, lift that up. A non-verbal way of saying you're boring me to tears. Eliminate the noise and pay attention. This sounds so silly, and this is the time where one of my dogs could bark and really ruin the whole point. It's just good meeting etiquette, right? To enable people to focus and connect and concentrate on what's going on. If you're not talking, put yourself on mute and pay attention to what's going on. If you can't pay attention, because we've all got distractions of Amazon people turning up, kids, dogs, whatever that's going on around us, mute the meeting, turn your video off if you need to, so nobody can see that you're actually distracted. Other than that, video on at all times. It is amazing over the last few weeks how the habit has become completely normal for us to turn the video on these sort of meetings. I think a couple of months ago, loads of people weren't doing that. It's become great discipline, and it's one of the single most powerful things we can do to connect with people when we're working remotely. Improv your meetings as well. I thought I'd throw this in just as to keep meetings a bit more interesting. Actually, try a new way of running them. There's loads of different things out there. Ones that I like. Edward de Bono's six thinking hats, where people are in effect wearing hats that represent different roles that you might play in the meeting. There's a concept called the yes and meeting, where you're taking other people's ideas. So if you're doing an idea generation session, taking other people's ideas and not shooting them down. So you're doing a yes and, so it's building rather than shooting down. There's loads of different concepts out there for improvising your meetings and making them interesting again. And then finally, on this point, attend the comms set pieces. We had the STLT roadshows, which I think were the most successful ones a few weeks back, done remotely. Everyone's falling in love with the huddles again. Right? We've had so many problems with Monday huddles, but they go overwhelmingly positive feedback on those at the moment being run through Teams live events. And what a great way to stay informed, stay connected with what's going on with the business. So please take the time out of your day. If you've got any preconceptions, huddles are really boring, I've never enjoyed those. Things have changed, and things have actually changed for the better in some contexts. That is certainly one. Okay, topic number 3. Loving your ways of working. Let me just pause actually. Adam, are we doing all right on the slides? Network quality, volume, all that? Okay, good, thank you. How to fall in love with your ways of working again. Some of this is related back to meetings and diaries again. So blocking out time. I speak to far more people who say they're going to block out time in the diary than actually go ahead and bloody do it. And it's really valuable to do that, particularly at the moment where we're not moving. So I'm stood up in the dining room at the moment. I'm normally sat in what we call the snoffice down the way there, the snug office. The idea of being sat there for 7, 8, 9 hours non-stop on any given day, and I've had a few of those days in recent weeks, it is horrific. It doesn't feel good. So I am now, and hopefully lots of you are in the habit of blocking out time and using that time to get some focus work done, get away from the desk. So I prepped for this session by writing 60, 70 post-it notes on the kitchen table. And frankly, taking a bit of time out in the day to do something fun. So my fun thing, so I'm a bit sad, is to sit and watch Only Fools and Horses reruns. But take some time out to break up your day and re-energize. The big diary hot wash as well. So this comes back a little bit to invite and attendance to meetings. We've all got loads of long-standing meetings in our diary that take up the time, and are they really adding value? So go through your diary, have a look in there. Do you need to have all those things in there, and what could you take out? Actually, what could you move to a later date? Better still, what could be delegated? Better still, what could actually be cancelled, and grab some of that time back to get a healthy balance, getting work done, and then staying connected through meetings with what's going on in the virtual office. Sticking to routines. So there's been lots of talk about this in loads of other well-being presentations and whatnot that you'd have seen on the internet or you'd have attended webinars on and all this sort of stuff. But the routine of starting your day at the same time and ending it at the same time mentally, really important for your brain subconsciously knowing when it's time to connect and when it's time to get out of that. Similarly, take your breaks. Lunch break in particular. Tons of research out there that talks about productivity overall on any given day is far better if you've had a lengthy break in the middle of the day, because you come back energized, raring to go and contribute, as opposed to slogging all the way through. And sure enough, come 2, 3 p.m, that sense of disconnection, and you know what, I've just had enough, even if it's subconscious, is always there. Use the tools. What an incredible explosion in the use of Teams and Slack and the like, whichever's your poison, over the last few weeks. It's been brilliant for my digital workplace team to see that. This has been a real boon for them. But using the tools is a great way of connecting with each other, and actually contributing. I always encourage contributing when it comes to any of the chat that's on any of these sites, rather than just lurking and watching what's going on. Also, as we're not physically in the office, a little reminder with things like SharePoint and Office 365, all the tools we've got nowadays to be collaborating on documents and whatnot together all at the same time. It's one of the coolest features of Office 365, and I personally think it's woefully underutilized. Retro your team's ways of working. So I talked about my leadership team. We're constantly talking about what's the best way in which we're going to work throughout the crisis here, and moving our meetings around and the way in which they're running to suit. Have you done that? And if you haven't done that, do it. And if you have done it, what's worked for you that you can then make permanent whenever we get back to what the new normal is going to be, whatever the hell that is going to be. A couple of practical things. Sort out your personal workspace. Did this a couple of weeks ago. Historically, when I've worked from home, I sit over there on the sofa with my laptop, doing my back no good, and there's no separation between the home and the workplace. So that connection that I'm feeling with work and then my personal life gets horribly blurred. Had to do something about that with coronavirus. So we shoved it around the desk, bought a proper monitor, proper chair, a little coaster out for me mug. I've got all my chargers sorted, post-it notes, pens, everything to hand, everything you can do to get yourself properly ready to sit down and focus on work and have everything to hand that you need. Then down to your device, your laptop, the things that you're using every single day, and very reliant on now, of course. Housekeeping your laptop sounds a bit silly, right? But getting rid of stuff that you just don't need on there anymore. All good, part of the circle of trust commitment for InfoSec, by the way. And lots of things we can be doing to housekeep, sorting out your Teams channels, curating those channels in a very sensible way, ordering them so that you can make sense of the communication that's coming in. And then with emails, the big tip for me around emails, I talk about this quite a lot, hitting the unsubscribe button on all that nonsense cold calling that's coming into every single one of you at the moment, because businesses are desperate for work that they used to find hard. They're now finding it even harder now. I'm on a big mass unsubscription thing at the moment, and bloody hell, it feels great. And then last one, we've all got permission to get up and move around when we're sat in the same place at our desks all day. It's absolutely fine. Everybody's very forgiving of all this sort of stuff. So get up and move around. Walk while you talk meetings are actually a great way of staying connected and energized. So it's absolutely fine. If actually you're not actively part of the meeting at the time, you just need a break and you're getting a bit cranky, absolutely fine. Turn your video off, go for a little walk around the room. We'll do some proper Joe Wicks running on the spot. Okay, just looking at how I'm doing for time, because I haven't got a timer on my screen. Okay, bringing joy to work. I'm going to try and speed up. Family and pets are really okay. They interrupt us a lot. I'm going to show you one now. This is Daisy joining the call today. It really is okay. Only you have to live with people that keep popping into our calls. Actually, it's a really interesting window into the world for everybody else. So don't get worried about people that turn up in the background. It really is okay, and actually is bringing a bit of joy to work. Gamify your work life. There's loads of quizzes, bake-offs, fancy dress things that are going on at the moment, which is great. Plug here for Mark Crawley's virtual pub quiz, 12:30 on Friday. Sharing successes, recognising great work from other colleagues around Sainsbury's Tech. Get it shared either through kudos channels on your team site, through the huddles, through local family comms, whatever it may be. Great way to help people feel connected by getting some of that great work recognised that they might not feel when they're isolated at home in this way. And remember, with praise, always best to follow it up with the reason why something is great. So rather than thank you because you added value through X, Y, Z. Teams backgrounds, enough said. We're all having lots of fun with teams backgrounds and keeping the spirits up. So just a silly thing, really. We all get lots of stuff in our personal WhatsApp chats with family and friends, sharing some of that in the workspace. We've got a Keeping the Spirits Up channel on our IPW family team site, where Sharon Foreman's posting some classic comedy clips from YouTube. Paul Fletcher's putting music playlists to keep our spirits up and things like that. Finally, winning behaviours. This is all about how we show up in the virtual workplace every day to keep connected and keep looking after each other. So concern for colleagues. Lots of people are struggling with what's going on or going through at least peaks and troughs. So if you think somebody is struggling, pick up the phone, have a conversation and check in with them. Likewise, if you've got questions, concerns, doubts, feedback of your own, quite easy to feel isolated and disconnected and not do anything about it. No festering. Be proactive in asking questions, raising your doubts and concerns with your line manager, with your team, whoever it may be. Bravery to try new things. And this is part of just getting the receptors in the brain open to new concepts and feeling a bit more motivated and engaged in the workplace. This is the first time I've ever run a webinar, by the way. So this is me being brave, trying to try new things. Might be the first time you've ever attended one. There's lots of other online events that are going on at the moment. What brave or new things could you do to bring a sense of connection back to the workplace? Sharing your problems as well. It's really cheesy and glib, isn't it? Problem shared is a problem halved. but it's true. And we've all got problems at the moment trying to work our way through this period of time. It is very strange. And of course, nobody has experience of what we're all going through at the moment, no matter what grade, no matter what level. This is a first for absolutely everybody. So no one is alone throughout this. So please be proactive in sharing your concerns and your problems with your team. Over communication is better than no communication. So the way I see it, communicate every day. Obviously, one of the best things you can do to remain connected with what's going on in the workplace. And if there's a point of where you're feeling bloody hell, it's just too much communication, too much going on, that's no bad place to be. It shows that you're connected. It's just around to your discipline to limit that communication if needs be. Easy when we're isolated to become a keyboard warrior on email or Teams, whatever it might be. Always challenge and have a think about whether you could get a quicker outcome or a better outcome or a more engaging, connected outcome with somebody else if you picked up the video phone and just had a conversation. It's amazing how quicker you're going to get an outcome a lot of the time rather than banging out yet another email. And disconnect when you need to. I genuinely think one of the most powerful ways in which we can connect is to remember to disconnect. So at the end of the day, down tools, stop working, stop checking, stop thinking. And if you're working flexibly and late because of circumstances of your own, that's fine, but respect other people's disconnection time as well, i.e. writing an email, save it as draft to send during normal working time. And then finally, fridges can and do talk. I've thrown this in because mine's often groaning at the moment. Oh no, not you again. All this kind of stuff. Wrap up to avoid ending up in this dreadful situation. Okay, so in a nutshell, we've talked about these 5 themes: relationships, meetings, ways of working, joy, winning behaviours. And in the green bars on here, I've tried to summarise some of the key messages within those 5 themes. So connecting regularly, formally and informally, finding the time in the morning to plan your time now you're not commuting, being brave to try new things, finding new ways to focus, allow for a bit of fun time and a bit of relaxation time, a bit of you time so that you can connect when it's work time, become a meeting guru, learn to use all the fantastic collaboration tools we've got as effectively as you can, disconnect fully, be a workspace ninja, constantly seeking ways to improve yours and your team's ways of working to enable a better connection, accentuate the positive in all we do and be present, and of course be presentable, and all those things. That's it in a nutshell. If there's a single slide that you take away from this, it's this one. That's it. I hope you've all got something from this. I hope the technology has stood up throughout the half an hour. Adam's nodding, that's a good sign. My contact details are on the screen. Like I say, it's the first time I've run a webinar before. I would love to get your feedback, and any feedback's good feedback. I can take it. Please drop me a note with anything that you've got. But thanks for your time. We'll find a way of getting the slides sent out as well, or make them available. So like I say, thanks for your time. Please stay well, stay connected, stay safe, stay home, save lives. Thank you.